The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a landmark $95 billion aid package. The package, which consists of 3 bills, will provide aid for Ukraine, Israel and also Taiwan. The first is set to provide $60.84 billion to Ukraine, of which $23 billion will be used to renew U.S. weapons infrastructure for the embattled country. The second one will provide Israel with $26 billion in military aid as it finds itself in an increasingly hostile West Asia. Meanwhile, the third and the final bill is meant for the Asia-Pacific, where a large chunk of the allotted $8.12 billion will go towards containing Chinese aggression and also protecting Taiwan. The House passed the bill with broad bipartisan support on Saturday, with a united front from Democrats, but a divided camp from the Republicans, with bitter objections from Republican hardliners. The legislation now proceeds to the Democratic majority Senate, which will likely consider the bill on Tuesday and potentially pass it sometime next week. Upon its passing, the bill will finally be signed into law by U.S. President Joe Biden. And the next report gets you the complete story.
Some U.S. lawmakers cheered and waved Ukrainian flags as the House of Representatives passed a part of a $95 billion legislative package Saturday. The measure, which the House passed in its entirety, provides security assistance to the war-torn country, as well as Israel and Taiwan, over bitter objections from Republican hardliners. The legislation now proceeds to the Democratic majority Senate, which passed a similar measure 2 months ago and is expected to pass this bill next week, sending it to President Joe Biden, who released a statement saying he will sign it into law. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked House Speaker Mike Johnson for the more than $60 billion of aid coming his way, saying it would protect lives and bring a just end to the war that Russian President Vladimir Putin must lose. Johnson, a Republican, agreed with that sentiment.
3 of our primary adversaries, Russia and Iran and China, are working together, and they're being aggressors around the globe. If we turn our backs right now, the consequences could be devastating. So this afternoon, the House acted, and we sent over to the Senate, and it will be transmitted shortly, our supplemental national security legislation.
The vote on passage of the Ukraine funding was 311 to 112, with a majority of Republicans opposing it, including far-right Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has taken steps that threaten to remove Johnson from office over this issue.
I do not support Mike Johnson. He's already a lame duck. If we had the vote today in our conference, he would not be Speaker today.
While Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the measure would further ruin Ukraine and result in more deaths in the conflict.
And a plethora of reactions coming in from across the globe following the U.S. House of Representatives finally passing $95 billion aid package. Following the passage of $60.84 billion aid package for Ukraine, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed gratitude, saying that the aid lifeline will be used by Ukraine to bring a just end to the war, a war that Putin must lose. Earlier on Friday, Zelensky told NATO representatives that Ukraine needed a minimum of 7 Patriot air defense systems similar to that of Israel's to thwart Russian air assaults.
Thanks to each and everyone who supported our package. This is the decision to protect lives. I would like to personally thank Speaker Mike Johnson and all American hearts who, like us in Ukraine, feel that Russian evil must not win. I hope that the package will get considered in the US Senate and forwarded to President Biden fast enough.
Western allies lauded the US for strengthening Ukraine's chances at victory. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg hailed the passage of the package as a path to a safer Europe and North America. EU chief also welcomed the move, calling it a clear message to the Kremlin that those who believe in freedom and the UN Charter would continue to support Ukraine and its people. The Kremlin, however, has not taken kindly to this massive aid boost to Ukraine. Presidential spokesperson Dmitry Peskov termed the move expected and predictable, warning that the aid will further enrich the United States of America and rather ruin Ukraine even more by killing more Ukrainians because of the Kiev regime. Well, Israel has expressed gratitude to American legislators for this landmark aid, as Israel faces an increasingly hostile West Asia with a more empowered Iran, who precisely a week back launched its first direct attack on the nation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu commended the package as a strong support for Israel and a defense of Western civilization. This as the nation remains embattled in Gaza as its war with Hamas continues.